In this episode, we look at several modern attack surface problems that often come from unmanaged access and unmanaged assets. Stale credentials, rogue devices, shadow information technology, IT, wireless exposure, mobile devices, and identity provider risks may sound like separate topics, but they are closely connected. Each one creates a path where the organization may not fully know who has access, what device is connecting, what service is being used, or whether the access still makes sense. Attackers look for those gaps because they can be easier to use than breaking through a well-defended system directly. A forgotten account, an unknown device, an unofficial cloud tool, a weak wireless configuration, a lost phone, or a poorly protected identity platform can become the first step in a larger incident. The main lesson is that security depends on visibility and control. You cannot manage risk well if you do not know what identities, devices, and services are active. Before we continue, a quick note. This audio course is part of our companion study series. The first book is a detailed study guide that explains the exam and helps you prepare for it with confidence. The second is a Kindle-only ebook with 1,000 flashcards you can use on your mobile device or Kindle for quick review. You can find both at CyberAuthor.me in the Bare Metal Study Guide series. Stale credentials are usernames, passwords, keys, tokens, certificates, or other access methods that remain valid after they should have been removed, changed, or expired. They are dangerous because they may still work even though the business reason for using them is gone. An employee may leave the organization, but an account may remain active. A contractor may finish a project, but their remote access may continue. A service account may be created for testing and then forgotten. An application programming interface, API, token may be issued for an integration that no longer exists. Attackers love stale credentials because they can provide valid access without triggering the same alarms as an obvious break-in. If the login works, the attacker may appear to be a normal user or system. That is why credential cleanup is not just administrative housekeeping. It is a direct security control that removes old doors before someone else finds them. Stale credentials can also appear when roles change inside the organization. A person may move from finance to marketing, from help desk to engineering, or from one project to another. If old permissions remain, the account may accumulate more access than the person needs. This is sometimes called privilege creep, where access grows over time and is not reduced when responsibilities change. Privilege creep becomes dangerous if the account is compromised or misused. The attacker inherits all the old access, including permissions the person no longer uses. This is why access reviews matter. An access review asks whether each person, system, or service still needs the permissions it has. Good reviews are not meant to create paperwork for its own sake. They are meant to keep access aligned with real need. When access is tied to current roles instead of old history, the organization reduces the damage a stolen credential can cause. Rogue devices are devices connected to the environment without approval, visibility, or proper management. A rogue device might be an unauthorized wireless access point, personal laptop, small server, network switch, printer, camera, storage device, or even a device brought in by a vendor. The problem is not simply that the device exists. The problem is that it may not meet security standards, may not be patched, may not be monitored, and may create a path around normal controls. An employee might connect a small wireless router because they want better signal in a conference room. A team might plug in an old computer to run a quick tool. A visitor might connect equipment for a demonstration. Each action may feel harmless at the moment, but the result can be a device that security teams do not know about. Unknown devices create unknown risk, and attackers often search for exactly that kind of unmanaged opening. Rogue devices are especially risky when they bridge networks or provide access that was never approved. An unauthorized wireless access point can allow someone nearby to connect without going through the organization's normal wireless controls. A small switch under a desk can connect devices that security teams cannot easily identify. A forgotten device in a closet may run old software and expose services nobody monitors. A malicious device may be planted intentionally to capture traffic, provide remote access, or impersonate a trusted system. Even a well-meaning device can become a problem if it uses weak passwords, default settings, or outdated firmware. Defenders reduce rogue device risk through asset inventory, network access control, physical inspections, wireless monitoring, and clear rules about what can be connected. The goal is not to make work difficult. The goal is to make sure every connected device is known, owned, secured, and removable when it should not be there. Shadow IT means technology used for work without official approval, support, or security oversight. It can include cloud storage, messaging apps, project management tools, file converters, personal email, shared spreadsheets, artificial intelligence tools, unofficial databases, or any service adopted because it is convenient. Shadow IT often begins with a real business need. A team needs to share files quickly, track work, collaborate with a partner, or solve a problem faster than the official process allows. The danger appears when sensitive data moves into tools that are not governed, monitored, backed up, or reviewed. A team might upload customer records to an unofficial file-sharing service. A manager might use a personal account to coordinate vendor work. A developer might place test data in an unapproved cloud tool. The business problem may be real, but the security visibility may be missing. Convenience can quietly become exposure. Shadow IT is difficult because saying no to every unofficial tool may not solve the real problem. If the approved tools are slow, confusing, unavailable, or poorly matched to the work, people may find alternatives. Security teams need to understand why shadow IT appears. Sometimes the answer is better approved tools, clearer request paths, faster reviews, or safer ways to collaborate. The risk-based question is what data is involved, who can access it, how the service protects it, how accounts are managed, and what happens when someone leaves. Unofficial tools can create stale credentials, untracked data stores, weak sharing links, and legal or compliance problems. They can also make incident response harder because the security team may not know the tool exists until after something goes wrong. Reducing shadow IT requires both control and empathy. People use technology to get work done, so safer alternatives must support the work, not only block it. Wireless risks come from communication that travels through the air instead of through a physical cable. Wireless networking is essential in most environments, but it changes the boundary of exposure. A network signal may extend beyond walls, floors, offices, or controlled spaces. Someone in a parking lot, lobby, nearby office, or public area may be close enough to see or attempt to interact with wireless networks. Weak wireless security can allow unauthorized access, traffic interception, or impersonation of a trusted network. An attacker may create an evil twin network, which is a fake wireless network designed to look like a legitimate one. If a user connects, the attacker may try to observe traffic, capture credentials, or redirect the user. Strong encryption, strong authentication, network separation, and careful configuration help reduce the risk. Wireless convenience is valuable, but the signal does not stop exactly where the organization wishes it would. Low-powered communications can also create risk because short range does not mean no range. Bluetooth, near-field communication, NFC, badge technologies, sensors, and other low-power wireless methods may be designed for convenience and limited distance, but attackers nearby may still attempt abuse. A device left discoverable may invite unwanted pairing attempts. A lost badge or phone may become useful to someone physically close to a facility or user. A sensor or small device may communicate in ways that security teams rarely monitor. Low-powered technologies are often trusted because they feel local and personal. That trust can make people careless. The safer view is to treat every communication method as a possible access path. The controls may differ from normal Wi-Fi, but the questions are familiar. What devices are allowed? How is trust established? Can the communication be intercepted or replayed? How quickly can a lost or suspicious device be disabled? Mobile devices add another layer of complexity because they combine communication, identity, applications, location, cameras, files, and authentication prompts in one small device. A phone may receive email, text messages, collaboration messages, one-time codes, push approvals, and links to cloud applications. A tablet may hold business documents and stay signed into services. These devices move constantly between work, home, travel, public networks, and personal use. If a mobile device is lost, stolen, infected, poorly configured, or used by someone else, the organization may face data exposure or account compromise. Mobile risk is not only about the device itself. It is also about the accounts and sessions on the device. A locked, encrypted, managed phone is much safer than an unlocked, unmanaged one with active business sessions. Security teams often use mobile device management, MDM, to enforce settings, separate work data, require screen locks, and remove business access when needed. Bring your own device, BYOD, programs create additional decisions because personal devices may access business resources. BYOD can improve flexibility and reduce hardware costs, but it also creates questions about privacy, control, support, and risk. The organization may need to protect business data without taking over the employee's personal life. The employee may not want personal photos, messages, or applications visible to the employer. Clear policy matters because people need to know what the organization can manage, what data can be removed, what security settings are required, and what happens when the person leaves. BYOD without control can create unmanaged access. BYOD with thoughtful management can support work while still protecting data. The security principle is simple. If a device can reach business systems, the organization needs some level of assurance that the device is safe enough for that access. Identity providers are especially important because they often control access to many services at once. An identity provider, IDP, is a system that helps verify who a user is and often supports sign-in across multiple applications. With single sign-on, SSO, a user can authenticate once and then access several connected services without entering separate passwords for each one. This can improve security by centralizing authentication and making access easier to manage, but it also concentrates risk. If attackers compromise the IDP, administrator accounts, federation settings, application registrations, or tokens, they may gain access across many systems. The IDP becomes a high-value target because it sits at the center of trust. Protecting it requires strong MFA, careful administrator control, logging, conditional access, secure application approval, and regular review of who and what can use it. Identity provider risk is not limited to stolen passwords. Attackers may try to trick users into approving access, steal session tokens, abuse weak recovery processes, register malicious applications, or exploit excessive permissions granted to connected services. They may target administrators because administrator accounts can change policies, add applications, reset credentials, or weaken controls. They may also target service accounts or application identities because those identities can operate quietly in the background. A poorly reviewed application permission can become a backdoor into email, files, calendars, or user profiles. Identity risk is often invisible until someone examines sign-in logs, token use, application grants, and permission changes. This is why identity monitoring is so important. In modern environments, the attacker may not need a traditional network foothold. If identity is compromised, the attacker may simply sign in through the front door and start using cloud services as if they belong there. These topics connect because unmanaged identity and unmanaged assets often reinforce each other. A stale account might be used from a rogue device. A shadow IT tool might keep access for a former contractor. A mobile phone might hold a valid session to an identity provider. A wireless weakness might allow an attacker to reach an internal service. An unofficial application might receive broad permissions through SSO. A forgotten token might continue working after a project ends. Each issue becomes more serious when it links to another. Security teams need to map the relationships between users, devices, networks, applications, and identity systems. The question is not only whether one device or account is risky by itself. The question is what it can reach, what trust it receives, and what damage could happen if an attacker controls it. Modern security depends on seeing those connections clearly. Reducing these risks begins with visibility, ownership, and lifecycle management. Visibility means knowing which accounts, credentials, devices, applications, wireless networks, mobile devices, and identity connections exist. Ownership means someone is responsible for each one. Lifecycle management means access and assets are created, reviewed, changed, and removed at the right times. When someone joins, access should match the role. When the role changes, access should change too. When someone leaves, access should be removed promptly. When a device is added, it should be enrolled and secured. When a tool is adopted, it should be reviewed and governed. When a wireless network or identity integration is no longer needed, it should be removed. This may sound ordinary, but it is powerful. Many attacks succeed because old access, unknown devices, and unofficial services remain active long after anyone remembers why they were created. As you continue with Security Plus version 8 and SY0801, remember that stale credentials, rogue devices, shadow IT, wireless exposure, mobile devices, and identity provider risks all point to the same deeper issue: unmanaged trust. A credential is trusted to prove identity. A device is trusted to connect. A tool is trusted to hold data. A wireless network is trusted to carry traffic. A phone is trusted to approve access. An identity provider is trusted to open doors across many applications. If that trust is old, invisible, excessive, or poorly controlled, attackers can turn it into an attack path. The practical mindset is to ask what exists, who owns it, whether it is still needed, how it is protected, and what it can reach. Security improves when trust is specific, current, visible, limited, and reviewed before it becomes an opportunity for someone else.
Thanks for listening. For more audio courses, daily newsletters, and more, please visit baremetalcyber.com.